First things first, you need to spray and clean your work surface. So get a nice anti-back spray or anything like that with a nice clean cloth and give it a nice good wipe down. Next, you need to wash your hands, okay? See, washing our hands is really, really important at the moment. Make sure you give them a good scrub, okay? Make sure you do the backs and the wrists, okay? All the fingers in between, okay? All the fingertops for at least 30 seconds, all right? And then rinse them in hot water and dry them on a paper towel. Okay, so I'm going to do some cooking with you today. I am a beginner cook. My mum is an amazing cook and my nan was even better. I used to think that the cooking gene skipped a generation with me, but when in isolation, you do new things. So I've been starting to bake, and my other half of my daughter seemed to really like my efforts, so I thought we'd do one together. So first of all, you need to get your ingredients and all your tools. Okay, so you need mixing bowl, sugar, scales, and 110 grams of unsalted butter. You need caster sugar, 2 eggs, vanilla, self-raising flour, chocolate chips, cupcake cases. I've only got muffin cases and a muffin tin, so I'm just going to make some really big cupcakes and maybe cook them a bit longer. And a cupcake tin and an electric whisk. Okay, so pause the video, go and get your ingredients, and then we'll come back and we'll measure them out together. Okay, so for the first bit, you're going to need some butter. I've got this one, really cheap from Aldi, but as long as it's unsalted butter, you can use anything you like. And I've got my bowl on the scales. So, got my bowl on the scales, and I'm going to measure out 110 grams. You can also tell that I'm not very good at filming and technology as well. And if any of you beaners know me, you know that is a fair fact. Okay, so 110 grams. I've got digital scale, so it's quite easy for me to measure it out. Make sure it's on 0 before you measure anything. Okay, so I'll show you what 110 roughly looks like. So I've put in like 3 dessert spoons so far. 4. Oh, I've gone a little bit over. That's fine. If you've got a sieve, great. I don't know where my sieve is, so I'm just going to put it in. So it's in the same amount of caster sugar. So 110 grams of caster sugar, all in the same bowl. I've got a couple of lumps of sugar in that, so I'll need to get those out. Oh, brilliant. Okay, then using your electric whisk, okay, we're going to mix it up. All right, this is. I can't hold the bowl and show you, but I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. And this is what it looks like. Okay, it looks a bit like scrambled eggs, I suppose. Okay, and then you're going to get your 2 eggs. Now, I crack them straight into the bowl because I hate loads of washing up. But if you've not really cracked many eggs, why don't you crack them into a cup, pick out any shell, and then pour them into the bowl. Yeah, that's always quite a good way of doing it. That's the way I used to do it. Okay, so 1, 2, okay, and then whisk that up with your electric whisk. Okay, okay, so it looks a bit smoother now. Let's see if I can show you that it all falling out the bowl. Looks a bit smoother now. Yeah. Okay, so next you need your vanilla, and it says about a teaspoon, 1 or 2, or roughly, otherwise I'll stick the whole thing in, so roughly about, straight into the bowl this is, by the way, with all your other bits, so 1, let's put another little bit in, 2, okay, so far I've only used 1 bowl, as I said, I don't like washing up. So now we need to put in the self-raising flour, which is again the same amount. So I'm going to just turn my scales on. See if I do have a sieve for this. Oh, I do. Okay, and it's 110 grams. I'm going to stick it straight in the same bowl. Okay, and if you do a sieve, it's just, well, it takes out all the lumps, doesn't it? And my mum used to do it. If you're with someone that does a lot of baking, they can probably give you a more technical reason. But I think it's the lumps. I think it's the lumps. Okay, let's have a look. 110. Well, it's better also to put in a little bit at a time rather than too much, because when you're doing it all in one bowl, it's a bit more difficult to take it out. There we go. All right, so now I've got the eggs, sugar, vanilla and flour. I'm trying to remember everything. Okay, all in that bowl, and I'm just going to again whisk it all out. All right. Now that's all mixed. Looks good, doesn't it? Okay. I'm going to throw in some chocolate chips. So these bags are 100 grams. It said 110. I can't bother to measure out. 100 grams will be fine. So I'm just going to throw the whole bag in. I'm going to do dark chocolate because that's my other half's favourite. Big bag of chocolate chips. And I've got a nice measuring spoon. You might have seen my daughter there poke her head through the door. I'm sure she'll come and say hello later. And give it all a big stir. So now I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So all the chocolate chips are mixed in. Okay. Right. Now using the way I do it, might be the wrong way, not the right way, I don't know. Is 2 dessert spoons. Okay. And I scoop, that was a big one, scoop with one, and then I scrape it off into the cupcake case like that. Okay, so I'm just going to do it one at a time, and if you just do one scoop's probably fine if you've got cupcake cases. As I said, I'm doing extra large cupcakes at the moment, so I might need to do like 1.5 scoops, otherwise I'm going to have more case than cupcake. So I have scooped them all. So obviously I've got big cases, so I've got 8. Okay, the oven is on 180 degrees. Okay, and you've got to make sure it's all nice and warm before you put the cupcakes in, and they should go in the oven for about 15 minutes. Okay, if you're unsure when you get them out, if you've got a toothpick or even a fork, just stab it in, and if it comes out clean, then they're done. And when you get them out, please be careful, but then put them on a rack or take them out of the pan so they don't get too dry, and they'll cool down. But in a minute, we'll do the buttercream icing, which makes it even sweeter. So yeah, hope they cook okay. See you in a minute. Okay, so while the cupcakes are cooking, we're going to make our buttercream icing. Now, I have never made buttercream icing in my life, so we are in this together. All right, so let's have a look at what we need. Okay, so we need our whisk from before, so if you've used it, so you'll just need to give it a wash up. A bowl, probably wash the other bowl up or use another one. Your scales, 150 grams of butter. You also need 300 grams of icing sugar, some vanilla, which we've just used, a little bit of milk, and food colouring is optional. I don't have any, can't go to the shops, so I'm just going to have boring ones and maybe stick some chocolate eggs on top if I haven't eaten them already. Okay, so go get your ingredients. Remember, wash your hands again and then come back and join me. So I've got my clean bowl, I've got my clean whisk, just want to wash them, and I wash my hands, nice sparkly hands. Okay, so again, put it in your bowl. I always use the same. As I said, I'm lazy. I've got my bowl on the scales, and I'm going to measure out 150 grams of butter without anything else in it. I'm just going to put my hands. We're going to whisk it, okay, because it's got to be nice and soft for the icing sugar. So just butter. Now that looks pretty good. Okay, that really soft. Now, we now have to whisk in 300 grams of icing sugar. Now they've said to whisk it in slowly, otherwise you're going to get covered in powder, which isn't good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 100 grams, whisk it in, 100 grams, whisk it in, 100 grams. Okay, it's getting slightly creamier. Okay, remember when you're weighing something again, put it back to 0, yeah? And then I'm going to whisk in another 100 grams. Okay, that's what mine looks like so far. Let's see. I don't know if you can see. Okay, and then one more lot of 100 grams. So I've put my scales back to the start. And you want it to look really smooth. Okay, now I've actually got a little spatula, but you can just use your wooden spoon. I just like this. Makes it look very professional. Looks like I know what I'm doing. I don't. So mix it all together, just so it's all off the sides. Okay. And then should look something like this. I hope, as I said, I've never made it. Okay, so then we need a teaspoon of vanilla. All right, so we'll put a teaspoon of vanilla in that bowl. And then 3 tablespoons of milk. So I'm actually really lucky. My mum bought me measuring spoons for Christmas. Maybe she knew that the baking would hit me one day. I was very chuffed when I saw these in the fridge the other day. In the fridge? In the cupboard the other day. Milk's in the fridge. 2, 3. Okay? Now, give it another mix up. So I've got... Now, if you have food colouring, now all of the ingredients mixed together, put a couple of drops in, mix it, and then add a little bit of food colouring. Goes a really long way. So just put in a couple of drops, mix it, and if you want it slightly darker, mix it again. Okay, so I've got my cupcakes out. They are looking nice, and I have put them on a drying rack. There we go. Okay, so anything like that, out of the tin, and let them cool down. Doesn't say that in the recipe, but I'm just using my professional instincts now that I'm clearly a professional baker. Before we put on this. And if you've got anything like chocolate buttons or mini eggs or sprinkles or anything like that, get those out to decorate. Okay, so all of your cupcakes should be out and they should be nice and cool. So now I'm going to just take a spoon. I don't know how, I mean you could pipe it, but I don't have a piping bag or piper or anything. Excuse my little one just eating her dinner behind me, and I'm just basically, oh yeah, I'm going to plop on the buttercream like that. Then I found they might have been earmarked for Blossom, but I can get some more. Some mini eggs, because it is Easter coming up. Okay, and sorry, she's fine. She's eating baked beans. There we go. Cupcake. Easter cupcake. And that's it. You just scoop on your buttercream, put on your mini eggs or sprinkles or anything, and then eat and enjoy. So thank you for joining me for my first cooking video. If you've got any ideas of what you want to make with things at home, if you've got a cupboard full of odd ingredients and you think, oh, what can I make? Maybe send me that and I can think of a challenge. I'm pretty good. Years of studying and at uni, eating off random foods. I've been quite creative in the kitchen. So if not, I'll make a video in a couple of days and I might do a savoury thing that maybe you can make for dinner. Something nice and easy. Anyway, see you soon. Bye.